Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm doing another live one. This lovely Sunday afternoon. It's lovely outside, and thought I've had enough sun today, so I'll come in and do a video. And this one is going to be about essential equipment for a new modeler. So, like bare bones equipment, what's worth grabbing to kind of improve your modelling game for when you're starting off, basically. So to start the video off, first bit of equipment that's pretty much crucial to any modeler is a modelling knife. Now, this can be used for all sorts of stuff, scribing things, removing stuff from sprues, cleaning bits up. It's pretty much sort of like the mainstay of our equipment that we're using. You don't have to pay a lot for them. I think a little X-Acto knife like this is about £3-4 from like a local hardware store. Make sure you've got plenty of fresh blades for it. When they're dull, get a new one, put into it, and you'll find it'll cut through plastic like hot knife through butter. Keeping it sharp is important. You can get a little whetstone to keep it sharp as well, but generally the blades are cheap enough just to change them out. But a sharp knife is critical. Next up is nail files, or like emery boards sort of thing. These are real cheap sort of emery boards from like a pound shop. You just use them for sanding, so you can use them for removing seam lines on a model. So this has all been smoothed off. You can still see it a little bit. All you do is just work the surface with it, and you often get these in different grades as well, from coarse to fine. Try and get a couple of different ones, and work from the coarse grain up to the fine grain, and polish it off with the finest one. But that's really useful. A pair of tweezers. One of the most important things when you've got fat fingers like me. You're trying to manipulate small pieces into like small like bits like guns and cannons and stuff like that. So some bits on, say, this little turret here, it's a little bit out of focus. Trying to glue that top frame on, you're trying to use your hands and put it on in place like that. It's just a lot easier if you've got a pair of tweezers picking up the small thing and just drop it in place with these. You get all different types. I think these are like a medical surgical type one. You can get specific ones for modelling, but generally each one that's a couple of quid. Even like little tweezers you can use for pulling eyebrows or whatever else out with, whatever you can use them for. They're normally fine for what you'll need. This kind of serves the same purpose as a knife for removing stuff from sprues, but little clippers like these. Using a knife all the time doesn't always work. Anything like really small components, or ones that are like where the injection area you're cutting off to the sprue is raised up off the from like the flat of the sprue, you can end up putting too much pressure onto the part, and it can bend it or it can snap it in half, and you don't want to be trying to glue bits together like that. So these are really useful for just removing random bits from the sprue. Just clip them off. They do both have the uses still for removing stuff from the sprue. Any really small components, I try and avoid using these, as when you go to clip it, it puts a lot of pressure because of the shape of the blade on there. It puts a lot of pressure on small components, can push them the wrong way. So just find out what works best, really. Other things that are quite useful: masking tape, or even precision modelling tape's good. Using these for masking, or even holding the fuselage together, so you can, if you paint, like gluing up your fuselage halves together, wrap tape around it nice and tight, and then you can leave it. It's going to hold it in the right place, and you can carry on working on something else. Just bear with me a second. There we go. It also uses for masking when you're painting, so you can mask your upper lower demarcation lines on your model. So here it'd be black underneath, and I put a line of tape across and spray underneath there in black. Also, using this kind of masking tape, this is what I use for masking windows on canopies. I'll put a small amount on over an area, on say like a turret on there. I'll put it all across here. Then I'll use a like an engineering pencil like this, a real fine tip pencil, and scribe out the inside, put it on my cutting mat, and then cut around it and put it back on. Other things that are useful, like I said, cutting mats. Now, even if you've got your own little desk to work on like I have, I still try and use this, because you don't want to start chopping up your table or anything like that, and you definitely don't do it on the chop up your kitchen table with your knives either. Otherwise you'll have some unhappy people, either your missus or mum or whatever, will get a bit mardy about it when they start finding score lines in the table. Other bits as well. So other really good bits of equipment is getting decent paintbrush. You want to try and get a couple of different ones. I've got a couple of real fine nibbed ones here. I've got all sorts of grades of paintbrush and sizes. That's a Humbrol one there. All the way up to sort of big brushes like this. Using different size paintbrushes for different purposes is quite important. So you don't want to be using a big brush for painting fine detail, and you don't want to be trying to paint an entire aircraft with a brush this size, because you won't get a good finish on it, and it will take you absolutely ages to do it. That's about it really. This was just a short video just going over some sort of like essential equipment, decent stuff that's worth grabbing. One other thing as well, and I find this probably the most useful one, is bottle tops as well. So I just collect these after I finish a bottle of Coke or Pepsi or whatever. Take the bottle top and I put them in a little bag, give them a clean, and use these for mixing painting. Use them numerous amounts of times. Just keep hold of them until they've got too much paint on the inside of it, then just chuck them. No point buying expensive mixing pots or like mixing palettes. These are just brilliant. Just get hold of them. Things little like sauce pots from takeaways. They're exactly the same. You just use them for mixing painting or thinning paint out in as well. Like I said, no point paying for expensive mixing palettes when you can use free and cheap stuff as well. So anyway, if you tuned in, thanks for watching. It's going up on the channel soon anyway, so it'll get uploaded as well. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe and give us a thumbs up if you found it useful as well. Cheers guys.